Lorenzo. Hurricane Lorenzo. The bad Atlantic hurricane of 2019. What do I say? He's the pharaoh of Atlantic hurricanes. And there's a sign coming at 1 p.m. on Thursday. 1 p.m. this Thursday. Today's Sunday the 21st of July. Hey, it's 69? 1969? It's 50 years since they put man on the moon. 1969. 69. Reflect. The word reflect equals 69. So there's going to be a sign on the 25th. Who is Lorenzo? Well, he's kind of a bad boy. A bad boy. And yet he's a Christian boy. A demonized Christian boy? Nah, he's a Christian demon. An angel that becomes a demon. And then, after being punished, goes back to being an angel. That's Lorenzo. A fire angel. When a fire angel gets horny, it becomes a demon. It gets punished as the demon, thoroughly whipped, and then goes back to being the angel. The energy of the demon is changed. Not just by the punishment, but by the love of the angel whipping the demon. Different? Yeah, it's probably a bit different to mainstream Christianity. May not be a bad thing. Steam equals 58 and Steamboat Giza equals 175. Like the letters in STEAM, S-T-E-A-M, add up to 58. Nathan is 58. Nathan means gift from God. God has given. Steamboat Giza 175. 94. Fantasies equals 94. Kinky is 70. 79 is William. William's in here somewhere. He's one of the triplet boys. Triplet bad boys aged 16. 16 is the age where a male human being is at their most horny. The horniest he will ever be is at the age of 16. But no need to panic. He'll stay horny for quite a while. It's just that the absolute peak of horniness is 16, biologically. Of course, 16 is an awkward age in our culture because 16 is still a child. Some people will say, you're still a child at 16. Others will say, oh, you're old enough to work, get a job, pay tax, go on, get off your ass, go do something. But you can't go out to a nightclub, you can't do a lot of things. So what did it say here? The next eruption of Steamboat Giza is coming when? 1300 hours Mountain Daylight Time on Thursday, 25th of July 2019. Well, that's this coming Thursday. Today's Sunday. Steamboat Giza. Wow, it's kind of weird. Penance. Penance is 58. So Lorenzo is an angel. Christian angel. Who becomes a demon when he gets horny. When he gets horny, he becomes Satan. Horns and all. He even grows horns and all. Becomes Satan, horny devil, gets a good whipping, and then goes back to being the angel after getting his good whipping. Kind of weird because the angel kind of enjoys whipping the demon. The horny demon doesn't like being whipped, but does enjoy being horny. And then towards the end of the whipping, kind of enjoys the whipping as well, because the energy is being lifted into the angelic realm. And the demon is kind of like experiencing the high that comes with being lifted into the angelic realm. So there's a high that comes towards the end of the whipping, an angelic high, which the demon does enjoy. And then the transition back into angel form. So every time the angel gets horny, like really horny, he becomes Satan, horns and all, then is motivated to whip himself into a frenzy, just like Lorenzo will, as a hurricane, a big powerful storm, a big boy, strong muscles, nice body. I guess, what's the reflection of 16? 19. So the good thing about the age 19 is that you're still the boy, the angel, who becomes human, boy, man. At 19, more people say man. You're a man. You're 19. Some say still boy. Oh, he's still a boy. He's still a kid. He's only 19. It's kind of true. And then on the other hand, the 19-year-old is like, even the 16-year-old is like, I'm not a boy. I'm not a child. I'm a man. Well, even more so with Lorenzo, because he's so horny in his demon form. Satan, Joshua, Yi Ming Yuan. See, the thought of being whipped as a criminal is different to the thought of being whipped as a kinky demon, I suppose. In the eyes of most people, people that are kinky, masochistic, kinky masochists, gay, straight, bisexual, autosexual, doesn't really matter. Most people would say, oh, well, that's just weird. That's freaky. Why would you want to be in it? Most people, not all people. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, nah, spanking, yeah, I get it. You know, I don't mind a bit of spanking, you know, a bit of spanking action. But everyone has a different level, if they're into it at all. Most people just, it's a little bit of spanking. But Lorenzo, no, he likes strong whipping. Strong whipping, stinging, painful, welts and all, you know? He likes nice big welts on his skin. He likes it to sting like crazy. And well, he doesn't like it to. As a demon, he hates the sting at first, but then it starts to lift him into the angelic realm and he starts to enjoy the high. And the sting doesn't feel so bad then. It starts to feel kind of angelic. And angelic stinging is different. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not just pain. Well, the pain is transformed as well as the energy. So it starts to feel good. The whipping starts to feel good, lifting the demon. So, kind of weird. It is kind of weird from the point of view of anyone who's normal. Because normal people are just like, well, they're never going to go far enough to even experience. Not voluntarily anyway. But this brings me to Yi Ming Yuan. Like, Joshua was flogged, not in a way that anyone would want to be flogged. Like, not even a horny demon. Well, horny demons don't like being flogged in the first place, but they may choose to be because they want to get the high. And, you know, is the high worth the pain? Well, that's, who knows? It depends. Totally depends. Individual thing. But in the case of Joshua, being scourged is not the same thing because it's like just torture, you know. Scourging, what the Romans used to do was brutal, and no one would choose that. It's like too extreme for anyone. So no one's going to volunteer to be scourged. Nobody. And no demon, no angel. Nothing is going to say, oh yeah, scourge me and then crucify me. That sounds good. Nobody. The word excruciating comes from crucifixion. So it's something that no angel chooses, no demon chooses. Nothing on the planet wants to suffer that kind of pain. Nothing does. No animal, no human. And the only person, I suppose, who might choose it would be these rare people that don't feel pain at all. So they could be like, oh well, I'm not going to feel anything anyway. And maybe they want to die and they're not scared of blood. Well, they might be like, well, yeah, go for it. I'm not going to feel it. So that would be the only person that might choose it. So, because the pain's just way off the scale and it doesn't stop. There's no point where it stops. It's just pain. You don't get a high from being crucified, you know what I mean? But you do from a nice, you know, moderate whipping. It just takes you to a place where you can get a nice high. And so it's kind of like actually it's down the lower end of the spectrum of pain. Quite a long way down, even though it seems really intense. It's not really. It is from the point of view of someone who totally avoids pain. But really, on the pain scale, you're probably only going up 10%. Someone that likes being whipped hard, welted, and like, whoa, 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 you know, feeling the sting. Probably only going 10% up the pain scale, but crucifixion is like probably 9/10 of the way up there. It's not the most painful thing, but well, I don't know. I've never been crucified, and I don't ever want to be. And there's a whole stack of things you could compare it to, I'm sure, and some of them are probably worse. But I saw a show that said there are worse, more painful things than that, which is pretty scary. But it just shows, if this world was the creation of God, if God had created this world, you know, a sensible God would have made a pain level around, I guess, say 1 to 2 is like, if 2 is the highest, the level that anyone would ever voluntarily go, then let's say 3 would be enough to make sure nobody ever went near that thing again. So if you were going to have like create creatures that could defend themselves, like wasps, then they don't need to sting anywhere near as bad as they do sting in order to deter people or animals from going in their nest. Do you know what I mean? Pain scale is a weird thing because you're sort of comparing apples for oranges and no one knows what pumpkin is, but it's like, let's just say a wasp stings, let's say a paper wasp stings at a level of 7. Well, it would only need to sting at a level of 2, and I'm doing a scale of 1 to 10, to deter any really normal, half normal person. Because 2 might be like a lash with a whip, and you just go, oh my, holy crap, get away from this thing. They sting. That's all you need. But no, they go up to a 7, man. They are like ridiculously painful. And I can't speak from experience on too many insects, but I do know bulldog ant, Aussie bulldog ant stings at a level that I would put on a pain scale around 9. I would put it at around 9. At least I've been stung twice by bulldog ants where the pain is just unbelievably bad. And it's like, you would not need to hurt 1/10 of that much to deter someone from going near your nest. So why the extreme? Why take it to such an extreme? It means that if this world was created by God, he seems to be a bit sadistic. I'm not saying he's a sadist, outright, completely, definitely, but it would seem he's a bit sadistic. Because a lot of things hurt way more than they need to, or why do they even need to hurt at all? Like fire, for example. Fire, burning to death, would be really bad. I think most people would agree. But it probably depends how. And it's like, how quickly or how slowly. I don't know. I don't want to go into it too much. Like, the thing is, Yi-Ming Yuan, 29-year-old convicted of drug trafficking in Singapore, was sentenced to 24 strokes of the cane. And I was like, oh, drug trafficking's pretty serious offence, and yeah, well, he probably deserves the cane. So I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I read 20 years jail, and I thought, well, it's drug trafficking. And then I read what he actually did, and it's like, well, it wasn't large quantities. He was buying off a local supplier and selling it to his mates at work. Marijuana and crystal meth or something like that. Bit of both. And I was like, oh, that's pretty harsh for that. Like, he's a drug addict himself, and then he's supplying his friends at work. He's a DJ. Now, I don't want to say, hey, what DJ doesn't do drugs? Because there are DJs who don't do drugs. But But you know what I mean. If I did say, what DJ doesn't do drugs? You know what I mean. It's like a bit of a, hand in glove thing in the music industry. Drugs, music, drugs, bands, music festivals, pills, pop it, let's have a party. He's a party boy. And I could see that. It was in his face. And, a bit of a, what would you say? A bit mischievous. Bit of a mischievous boy. Mischievous, intelligent, but not intelligent in another way, because why would you do drugs in Singapore knowing that they have capital punishment, not just corporal punishment, but capital punishment and long jail sentences? Why take that risk? So, okay, stupid in that way. He probably would be thinking I was so stupid, and it's like, but everyone does stupid things sometimes. Everyone does things and then goes, oh, why did I do that? That was so dumb. It was just the dumbest thing. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to think about it. Well, I'm sure he's like that, but he's got this fucking 20-year jail sentence hanging over him. And not hanging over him, he's in jail. He's in there, man. He's in the clink. And in a cell, in a jail. And the worst part, when I started reading about the caning they give in Singapore, it's not just a caning. I mean, there's caning and then there's caning. And this is like, well, they rate hurricanes category 1 to category 5. I got an idea Lorenzo is going to be high end. So maybe a 5. Let's say Lorenzo is a 5. High end. Hurricane. Well, that's what happened to Yu Ming Yu. But that's what he copped. Not just the cane, but the Cat 5 cane. They do it as hard as it is humanly possible to swing a cane. Now, I don't know if you've ever been caned, but it doesn't have to be very hard to hurt like hell. And, a flick of the wrist and it really hurts. So these guys put all their body into it, all their arm, their shoulder, it comes from the shoulder, the wrist, the elbow. They put everything into the stroke. One stroke, you're going to remember it for the rest of your life. The skin disintegrates on contact. So it's kind of like scourging. It's not just punishing. I recognize straight away. Oh, they're not just punishing him, they're torturing him. Mentally and physically. Torture. Because they don't tell you either when you're going to get caned. They don't say, oh, it's coming up next Thursday. Like I'm telling you, Steamboat Geyser is going to erupt this coming Thursday, which is probably bullshit, but let's just say it's true. 1 o'clock next Thursday. Let's just say it did happen. Well, I've told you. So you can anticipate it, you can plan for it, you can be like, set up a picnic rug and watch the eruption and you know exactly when it's coming. Well, if you were told you're going to get caned next Thursday, 24 strokes of the cane, the category 5 cane, the kind of caning no one would ever choose in a million years. Well, because you're going to be scarred for life. You're going to have no skin left on your ass. You won't be able to sit down. You won't be able to do anything. Well, and you won't even be able to go to the toilet properly or anything for weeks. You'll be lying on your stomach crying. And you won't even remember probably what you did wrong in the first place because you'll be so traumatized. And it's like, well, that's torture. It's not punishment, it's torture. I saw that straight away. These guys have the British used to cane people. That's where the idea of caning came from. It was introduced to Singapore by the British because caning was like a big thing in Britain. The British Empire was built on, I don't know, what do they say it was built on? Heroin and, I don't know, caning. I don't know what it was built on. Tea and caning. British Empire, the cane was used through schools, it was used on ships. It was like just routine. And that's how it was introduced to Singapore by the British back in the old days. But the Singaporeans, for some reason, have gone, well, if we're going to cane them, we have to cane them with maximum force. Like, the maximum possible force. And so they've turned it into a sadistic art form. And it's like, on the one hand, they're trying to minimize the damage done to the butt cheeks of the victim. And whether or not you see that person as a victim or a criminal being punished probably depends what they've done. And I looked at this guy, Yi Ming Yuan, and I thought, okay, he's a drug addict, he's a drug dealer, drug trafficker, small time though. I think he's being treated pretty harshly because he's been tortured and jailed for 20 years. And I think, well, it's not gonna do him any good, and it's not gonna do anybody else any good unless they're sadists, and I mean real sadists, who get off on seeing people lacerated and bleeding and tortured. Serial killer kind of stuff, you might say. Actually, not even all serial killers would be that sadistic, to be honest. But let's say it was a serial killer getting punished with 24 strokes of the cane. Then you might say, well, I don't care. They deserve it. And I might even say that. A child rapist, if they were being punished in that way, I think I would be like, yeah, well, buddy, how does it feel, you know? It's like, it depends who it is. And I wanted to think this guy deserved it, you know, because I was like, it'd be easier to get over reading an article, you know, or I read 10 of them on this young man, and I was like, my view kept shifting a bit. Then I read, oh, he was a con man back in Britain, and I was like, oh, good, he was a shifty little con man, so he's getting what he deserves after all. And then I read what he did, and it was nightclub related. He was selling fake IDs. So he took a driver's license and he photocopied it on his own scanned it, and then printed it, high quality, and altered it, but customized it to the client. Someone aged 16, 17, you know, I said 16, horny stage for boys. I think with girls it might be even younger, but don't quote me on girls. I only know boys in depth, and it's like 16 is the horniest age if you're a male. So let's say 16, really horny, thinks he's a man, knows he's a man, wants to go out and have fun, clubbing. Doesn't mean he should, doesn't mean he should be allowed to, doesn't mean he should be drinking, doesn't mean he should be going around having sex with strangers. None of those things are necessarily things that I would be encouraging, and they're not things I would be encouraging at 16 years old. I would encourage some discipline at 16, combined with some loving parenting, and it's a hard balancing act at that age because they think they're a man. I'm a man. I can go out, I can party, I can do what I want. So he wants to get into the nightclub, and so Yi Ming Yuan is sitting there in London thinking, well, I know what I can do to make some money, because there's all these young people who want to get into the clubs. They can't get in because they don't have ID. Well, I'll give them fake ID. And he's selling fake IDs for £15, £25, £35. Maybe it depends how good the quality. I don't know. Prices varied, and he sold enough that he took in £100,000 fake IDs. Scotland Yard was onto him, and he would have been arrested pretty soon, I think, when he fled Britain. Fled to Singapore, because that's where his mum's from. His dad's from China. And so that's how he came to be in Singapore. He was a naughty boy in Britain, very naughty boy, in one way, in a big way. I mean, that's a crime that could get you 10 years in jail in Britain. Selling £100,000 worth of fake IDs, fake driver's licenses, could get you into a fair bit of trouble. 10 years jail, even in Britain. So it would have been a lot better than 20 years jail and 24 strokes of the cane, which is what he's got in Singapore. And I guess some people look at it and they go, well, listen, he never got punished for what he did in Britain. He got away scot-free. So when you add that to the drug offences in Singapore, he's getting what he deserved. He could have got capital punishment in Singapore for drug-related offences. So he's lucky he's only getting 24 strokes of the cane and jail. Some people rationalise in that way, you know. They rationalise in that way. Maybe they don't realise that just 6 strokes of the cane in Singapore is a massive, massive thing. It's like, that is an extreme punishment, because we're not just talking bend over boy, the headmaster's giving you 6 strokes of the cane. We're not talking that cane. We're talking about a cane that's travelling at 160 kilometres an hour. And it's landing with a force of around 90 kilograms on bare ass cheeks. And the skin disintegrates along that entire line. So blood comes out. So after about 15 strokes of the cane, landing with that kind of force, and the cane is soaked in water, so it's very flexible. It's a rattan cane, big cane, very flexible at the whippy end, at the business end. It literally just whips like a big whip, and it's like the pain would be absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievably high and extreme excruciating pain, even from the first stroke. And then, with every stroke after that, and they come about every 30 seconds, I think, it would just escalate to a point that's just unbelievable. Traumatizing. Because it is traumatizing and it's disfiguring. It's not just welting. See, if they were just welting his ass, like even if they were big welts that 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you know, they're gone, it would still hurt like absolute hell, but you could sort of go, okay, he's been a naughty boy, he's been punished, and then if he did, I don't know, 10 years in jail, I always feel sorry for anyone in jail because I just think jail's bad, but it's like, it's time, man, that you never get back. So jail is harsh. It's like, I definitely see the point of jail for serial offenders who are harming other people, and of course that does include drug traffickers, because drugs do harm people. But, and obviously kidnappers, you know, rapists, child, you know, rapists, and molesters and all that stuff. Yeah, give them whatever and put them in jail, because while ever they're at risk of offending, they can't be out on the streets roaming around. I mean, there are a lot of people not in jail in Australia, England, the USA, who have done some pretty bad stuff. And they're out on bail, they're on house arrest, whatever. They've done much worse things than Yi Ming Yuan. Even though what he did was pretty bad, financially it was bad, like to sell so many fake licenses in England. That's really naughty. That's probably worse than what he did in Singapore. I think it is worse. And maybe the Singaporean authorities are like, oh, well, this guy was a brat in England and he's a brat here, and let's teach him a lesson. Yeah, that's all very well, but you know, 15 strokes of the cane, this is what Yi Ming Yuan himself pointed out. That's more than, well, 24 he said is more than what some child rapists get. Some child rapists only get 15. So they asked him, what do you think you deserve? And he said, well, I think his reply was 10 years jail, or 8 years jail, and 15 strokes of the cane. He said that's what I deserve. Even though he knows that cane is going to scar him for life, physically. he still said he deserves 15. I think that's pretty gutsy, even to say that. Although, I guess he knows he's going to get it no matter what. So, he's hoping they reduce it. And I hope they reduced it. But here's the thing. I read that back in... I read it only a couple of weeks ago. But the articles were dated back in January. And one was February 2019. Today is Sunday, the 21st of July 2019. And I think there's going to be a sign this Thursday, the 25th. A sign for Hurricane Lorenzo, Category 5. Lorenzo is like the reflection of Yiming Yuan. Yiming Yuan's the boy who got forcibly caned, non-consensual caning. Lorenzo is like the boy, the man who chooses to be whipped severely because it's sexually appealing to him for some reason. Kinky, you know. So Lorenzo is kinky, masochistic. He wants it. He wants the whip. And it strengthens him. He draws power, energy from being whipped. And so Lorenzo chooses to be whipped. Yiming Yuan is more like just a normal person. I mean, it's pretty common for people to do drugs. Everyone wants money. Some people break the law to try and get money, and then it's a criminal offense. Theft is an offense, you know. But there's one law for one group of people, there's another law for another group. There's a lot of people in jail in the USA, and I think Lorenzo's going to hit USA. Can't be sure, but I have a feeling, maybe. Landfall on the USA. And Lorenzo looks in the mirror when he's horny, when he's the demon. And who does he see? He sees William. Why does he see William? Because William is the same as him. They are brothers. Reflections. Twins, if you will. Lorenzo sexually. Not biologically. I mean, Lorenzo's a hurricane. But he's also a boy. A man. A boy man. Why do I say this? Because William is 16 and he turns 17 on the same day that Jayton turned 17. Who is Jayton? Well, it's kind of weird. Because when William looks in the mirror, he does not see Lorenzo. He sees Jayton. Jayton is a bratty boy. He's William when he's horny. Jayton is Satan, with a J at the start. J for Joshua, J for Josh, J for Jake, J for Jacob. Jacob, in the Bible, Jacob has a twin. It doesn't say identical twin, it just says he has a twin. Esau. Esau is the twin of Jacob. And it's kind of weird because Jesus, Joshua, Josh, back at the time when Jesus was around, there was no letter J. So his name was Joshua. Not Joshua, not Josh. Joshua with a Y. Why me? Yiming Yuan. Yiming Yuan would not choose to be punished like that, but he has no choice. He has to face it. Same as Joshua, another Y name. Why? Another Y name, Joshua. Why me? He would never have chosen to be scourged, but he had to face it, he had to bear it. Newman Ewan, has he had to bear his punishment? Well, actually, I don't know if he has or not. Because there was no more articles. There were no more news stories after February. There was one in February and that's it. Silence. And I thought, that's kind of scary, you know. It's like he just disappeared. It's like they just vanished him. Kidnapped him, abducted him. Took him away. That's kind of scary. Because who, at the end of the day, who gets to decide who deserves to be tortured? Somebody wrote online, well, of course it's torture. That's why it's called punishment and nothing else. Supporting the punishment and admitting that it's torture and saying, well, he deserves it and he's getting it and it's justice and that's that. But torture is not the same thing as punishment. See, in Hawaii, a boy from Hawaii told me that his grandma had to walk on a stonefish at the age of 8 because she had disrespected her elders. Had to walk, she was forced to walk on a stonefish. Unbelievable pain that lasts for days. A lot of the old cultures of this world were so cruel, you would not believe it. But they were. And even today, there is a lingering attitude of, well, there has to be somebody that can punish people, and punishing is torturing. That's what punishment is, it's torture. You torture them and then it teaches them a lesson. And it's like, it's the lingering. It's not just the lingering, it's the bad dark side of humanity, actually. Who gets to decide who deserves to be tortured? Is it God? Only God gets to decide. Is it the government? Only the government gets to decide. Is it a judge? Only the judge gets to decide. Is it the parent? Only the parent gets to decide. Is it some random person who decides that they are the one who gets to decide? Like Seven, the movie, Seven Deadly Sins. I'm going to teach them all a lesson. You see, conservatives often talk about the slippery slope. Well, people, not just conservatives, often talk about the slippery slope, but mostly conservatives. You know, if you allow this, then that'll lead to that, and this will lead to that, and that'll lead to this. And this will lead to something else. And before you know it, you'll have this. And it's like, it's a line of thinking that you just have to be tough from the start. Don't allow anything. And that's Singapore's attitude on drugs is we stomp on it with maximum force. And we're not going to have a drug problem. And it actually is true. They don't have a drug problem. Because people are terrified of being caned by a cane traveling at 160 miles per hour. Now, I'm a little different to a lot of people who are probably talking about this subject, because I'm not actually against caning as a punishment. I'm not against corporal punishment. I think you can have corporal punishment at a level where it's not actually what I would call torture, but punishment. It's a punishment, it hurts. They're not going to like it, they're not going to enjoy it, they're going to hate it, but they're going to get over it. Hopefully. They should get over it. And if they don't, well, oops. I guess it's oops. Because there's always a risk, no matter what you do. I mean, no matter how you punish a crime, there's a risk the punishment will be a slippery slope towards something bad itself. Do you know what I mean? Jail. jail is not ideal. It's not the ideal thing. It's not the ideal to put someone in a prison cell for 22 hours a day, like Yiming Yuan, waiting a caning, not knowing when it's going to come. Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be next week? Is it going to be next month? And he doesn't know. He doesn't have a clue when it's coming. He just knows it's coming at some point in time. And then the rest of the world reads about his sentencing. Okay, so this boy's been sentenced to 24 strokes of the cane, and then he's appealed it, and maybe there's a chance, a slim, slight, tiny chance they might reduce his sentence. But then nothing more is heard. Nothing. Silence. So what happened? It's a mystery. Yiming Yuan is a mystery. A silent void. Nobody knows anything. Yiming Yuan and Joshua, the mystery. The mystery boys. One got scourged, one got caned. I think Jesus ended up in a tomb. And then on the third day he rose again. And Joshua, well, he ended up in a jail cell for 20 years. So you'd rather be Joshua, I suppose. You'd rather be Joshua than Yiming Yuan. Because at least Joshua died after being flogged, soon after being flogged. I mean, he got crucified. But then it's all over, Red Rover. Whereas 20 years in a prison cell after being caned is like, or just imagine knowing you're going to be caned and then you're going to have 20 years in jail. Like, there's no hope there. There's no chance of, oh, I might still have a life. No, you're not going to have a life. You're going to be, your brain's going to be fucked. Your mind's going to be fucked. Your body's going to be fucked. You're not going to have a life, dude. You're fucked. And did you do, this is the thing, you were naughty. Some would say really naughty, yeah, really mischievous, yeah, real bratty, yeah, all that. But did you deserve to have your life destroyed? Well, I fling this around in my head for a while and I go, no, he didn't. He doesn't deserve to have his life destroyed. Because once you decide that someone deserves to have their life destroyed, who hasn't actually hurt anybody else, and you know, if he was a big drug importer, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. If he's making heaps of money off the back of importing drugs or something, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to waste my time feeling any empathy on this guy. There's plenty of other people out there who have done much lesser things who I can, you know, feel sorry for. But I kept thinking, this guy flinging it around in my head, and I kept thinking, you know what? I think he's got a bit of a mental issue. Because who would do that in the first place? Who would take the risks that he's taken? Who would put themselves in that situation? There's something not right with him. He's got an issue, man. And it comes back to that thing I was saying earlier where it's like, oh, don't ask me about that. I don't know why I did it. I just did it and I don't know why I did it and I shouldn't have done it. Don't even talk about it. And maybe you spent a week in jail and you got a $10,000 fine and you never want to talk about it again. It's like, oh, the dumbest thing I ever did. Well, this is what I mean. You can still live your life. You regret it. You don't even want to talk about it. You're never going to do it again. But you've still got a life to live. You've still got a life to live. You've still got the chance at life. This guy's got no chance at life. He really doesn't. If they enforce that maximum sentence, his life's over. Oh yeah, he gets out and he's what? How old is he? What is he now? 29? So what, 39, 49? Nah, forget it, man. Life's gone. Because your mind's fucked after all those years in jail. Don't have any delusions about that. You don't get out of jail at 49 after 20 years in jail and just, you know, rock up to work like everything's fine. Like, not gonna happen. Your life's fucked. So they're deliberately fucking his life. They're not killing him, but they're deliberately fucking his life and his ass. He's gonna be scarred for life, but physically as well, and as well as mentally. So I'm like, who gets to choose torture? Who gets to choose who deserves to be tortured? Is it God? Is it the government? Is it the judge? Is it the parent? Who gets to say, hey, you have to work on the stonefish, girl? You disrespected your father. Who has that right to enforce torture on another person? And how weird is it that so many people in the West, the privileged West, so many people get on their computers or their phone and they put a little comment saying, when in Rome, do as Romans do. Otherwise pay the price. Or they say something else that's supporting the penalty. It's not a penalty, man. That's torture. Punishment's not torture. Torture is punishment, but punishment does not equal torture. And it's kind of weird because I kind of have a sense that the people who say he's getting what he deserves, they would look at Jason or Demas, the twins, when they're horny, they like being whipped. And they would say, that guy's weird. He's a weirdo. He likes whipping himself when he's horny. That's just so bizarre. He's a freak. He's such a freaking freak. And it's like, well, actually he's a sexual deviant. Jayden is a sexual deviant because he's a deviant. He's not normal. He deviates from what's normal. Most people avoid pain at all costs, even low-level pain. Even like pain that's well below a bee sting. Most people will go out of their way to avoid it. Try to avoid it. Others have a certain type of pain that they're like, oh, I don't mind that. That kind of feels alright. It might be just low intensity something, you know? Something that just makes them go, oh, you know what? It hurts, but I kind of like it. And there's a lot of people like that. Pleasure and pain, you know? That little fusion. The only difference with Jayden, actually, Demas, Lorenzo. Well, Lorenzo, so he actually becomes a demon when he's super horny. William, Lorenzo. Jasper, Lorenzo. Jasper, by the way, is going to be an Australian cyclone about 3 years from now. A long way off. So we won't worry about Jasper, but J for Jasper, J for Jake, J for Josh, J for Jacob, J for Joshua. J and S for Satan. Drop the S and put in the J, and you've got Jason. Josh and Satan combined. So when he's horny, he's the demon. When he's not horny, he's the angel. The horny angel is the demon. But he's still an angel. He's just horny. The angel wants to whip the demon because the demon is horny, evil, rude, naughty. And so it's a kinky thing. Kinky sexuality. Born from this duality of angel and demon. All in one. Jayden looks in the mirror, he sees Demas. Demas is dark. Dark hair, black hair, dark eyes. Jayden is blonde. Jayden could be a poster boy for Hitler back in the day. Could have been. Just on looks. Just on looks, but he's not a conservative. He's not a right-wing extremist racist. Dickhead. No, he's not. Jayden is pretty, what would you say? Kinky. I mean, in a way that's kind of interesting, actually, because Jayden's he's not secretive. He's quite open. He's quite extroverted. He's an extroverted boy. Unlike his brother Demas, who really is a bit more introverted. Secretive. Introverted, secretive. So he doesn't advertise like his brother does. His brother doesn't advertise, he just shows off. He's a show-off. He's a born show-off, whereas Demas knows not so much. Demas is more like, I think I'll just keep this, you know, quiet. Angel, 39. Gee, I wonder who the bad mirror boy is. No idea, man. No idea. It's a mystery. 13 degrees. 58664. Well, twin is 66. 843. 84 is the demon. The demon is 84. Hot is 43.